Let's talk about the revenge of the refit nacelles. Oh my. All right, if you look at the inner nacelle on any of the refit models, particularly the POL or POS PL refit from Polar Lights, piece of stuff. All of the inner nacelles have an opening for the grill, obviously. This is also where they attach to the pylons, whether it's port or starboard, left or right, it doesn't matter. What you don't have is you don't have the fin or the extrusion that comes out here that has a couple of blinking lights and or the beauty light on the that you have on the outside. Now, originally on the Dreadnought, today I'm working on both the Dreadnought and the refit, a refit build, actually three refit builds today and yesterday. The 50-inch refit, this the 350 refit, and Scott's Dreadnought. On the inner nacelle, or on the outer nacelle, this is where you get this fin, and you have this cutout here where the fin attaches and you run lights through. Scott took the time originally to cut out the grill, or had someone do it, I'm not sure. And this is just too much work, because what we're going to do is we're going to attach it to this part. So none of this really needs to be here except on either end where it lines up. So I thought of another way. Now, I had to volunteer 4 nacelle halves to do this, but you'll see exactly what I'm going to do if you just follow along for a minute. Now, here is what I mean. This is a standard outer nacelle, another standard outer nacelle. Okay? You got the undercut for the fin, which we wanted for the center Dreadnought nacelle. We also want to have lighted grills on both sides. So instead of cutting all this out and then having to modify all this, I came up with another brilliant idea. But I had to donate 4 nacelle halves. So even though I cleaned all this up and cut all the connecting points so that these two would mesh, I'm going to go ahead and use this for another project another day, maybe, who knows, another scratch build or kit bash. So what I came up with is this. I very carefully marked and cut the ends off of 2 outer nacelles. Boom, boom. And I pulled the fin out of here so I could light it. I'm going to insert it back in after I drill holes for wiring, put the lighted part in there, clean everything up, and mesh everything together and make it look good. What I need to do now, and as you can see, these are both inner nacelles. What I need to do now is run some putty across both back ends and paint them to match, smooth, sand, and shape to make sure that they mesh really well together. Now that's what I'm doing on that. We're going to come back and check this out in just a second for me to show you what is next. Well, as you can see here that the 2 nacelle halves mesh almost perfectly with each other. All I've got to do is fill in the gap there with some putty and get these ready to start adding lights and assembly, and to cut this down so that it will fit perfectly on that other part, and then backfill it with resin and or epoxy, both. More to come as always. Let's look at the inner nacelle grills for both ships real quick, okay? Here are the 2 inner nacelle grills for the Refit 1350 PL POS. These are molds, essentially, of these that Scott made in blue and cast in clear transparent blue. These are how they originally came. I've been shooting these with clear transparent blue to match the dark blue you see here. I'll shoot these with matte, as well as these when they are done. These still need a couple of shots so that they all match that nice rich dark blue, because I'm using super bright white LEDs to light the interior. Now this one is warped on me, so I'm going to have to put it in some hot water, shape it, tape it down to a piece of cardboard and shove it in the refrigerator or the freezer so that it cools in shape. That's no big deal. I'm going to get on that right now and then finish painting these up. There you go. Alright, so here is the upper and lower pylon assembly for the Dreadnought. And here is the center section that holds the third nacelle that goes right above the extended neck. Now, I've got this real lenticular material here. These two patterns are really set a little too deep, so instead of trying to fix that, I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of new patterns and shape them to perfectly fit. So they'll fit in those recesses. I'm going to go ahead and pre-paint them blue after they are cut and fitted. Now on the lower portion, I'm not going to do a whole lot with that. I'm probably going to mask and putty a couple of areas, clean that up and go ahead and paint that. I'm not going to work on that too much because that's going to be the least part that is seen, and frankly it doesn't need as much work as the top section of the pylon. Now as far as this center section goes, yeah, I'm probably going to clean this up and putty, mask and putty right along the top, side, bottom, and transitional line here. So we'll see that another day, but I'm going to clean these up, use as is. All of this is going to be used as is, and I'm going to make new patterns for the center pylon. Alright, I'm out here working outside because the weather's good on the Guardian Gate 1/25th scale. Now I've been working on several things the last couple of days, but I just got to show this to get a friend of mine caught up. This is going to be the last build I do for him, and the refit is the last build I'm going to do for another friend. I'm just not going to be able to keep doing things like that at such a very low price. Now, you can see clearly that I marked off the area that I'm going to cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cordless drill, drill a couple of pilot holes in 4 corners of this rectangle. Then I'm going to drill into it with bigger drill bits and use that to guide in the jigsaw to make this cut. Now this cut will probably be expanded a little bit later, but what I want to do is get a basic cut, and then I'm going to sand the whole top surface with the orbital sander, as the humidity over the season has caused some cracking, and I don't want to see that, even though this is going to be submerged, and I'm going to cover the top with plaster and fiberglass and some sand. You will see, of course, later. At any rate, we're getting ready to do that right now, and I'll make a short video clip as soon as I get that done and explain what I'm going to do next. Alrighty then, we've got more than enough room here for now. Alright, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and sand the top with the orbital sander, clean everything up, and get it ready to mount the Guardian Gate acrylic and styrene. Okay, as you see, we've just sanded everything smooth. Now we're getting ready to do a thin layer of putty. We'll see that in just a minute, and of course more to come. Alrighty then, now I've just went over the top plate with some wood filler and putty. I'm gonna let that dry and see more in the next movie, or maybe this one, who knows. Okay, I've drilled 4 pilot holes here, and I'm going to expand into bigger drill bits and get a hold of the jigsaw and cut out this little section. I'll probably expand this later, because what I need to do is finish the wiring that I started a week ago and wire in all the lights first to make sure that I've got plenty of room, then epoxy everything in place. More to come.